Hello, my name is Brad Spence, and today we'll be talking about the Sardinian and Italian army during the Italian Unification Wars and why their performance was so poor during the wars. The Sardinian army was the only Italian state with the level of professionalism comparable to major European armies. King Charles Albert adopted a mixed recruitment system based on the Prussian and French systems, and a professional soldier served for 8 years with conscripts serving for 14 months, but this would change to 4 to 6 years, depending on the branch of service. A Sardinian infantry regiment had 3 battalions, with the 1st and 2nd battalions having a company of grenadiers and 3 companies of fusiliers, with the 3rd battalion having 4 companies of chasseurs, each company having 250 men. When mobilized, a 4th battalion were formed, having 4 companies of fusiliers were added to each regiment. Following the armistice of Salasco in August 1848, the infantry were completely reorganized, with 2 reserve battalions being raised for each line battalion, with the 1st being combat ready and formed of the best recruits, while the 2nd battalion fulfilled internal security or auxiliary functions. After the First War of Unification, line regiments were reduced to 3 active battalions, each with 6 companies, which would be lowered to 4 active companies by the 19th of March 1852. The Sardinians were supported by volunteers from Lombardy, Hungary, and the famous Red Shirts. The Hungarian Auxiliaries Legion were formed by Garibaldi during the Expedition of the Thousand, but was later absorbed by the Italian army. The Red Shirts were made up of volunteers from all over the world. For example, Hungarian, Italians, Germans, and British were among the ranks of the Red Shirts. The Red Shirts had started out with 1,089 volunteers at the start of the expedition of the Thousand, which had 2 battalions, with each battalion having 4 companies with 120 men per company. By the end of the expedition, the Red Shirts had 25,000 men. The Bussieri are light infantry formed by Alessandro Lamona in 1836. The Bussieri weren't just light infantry but also shock troopers, and the Bussieri demonstrated a high level of proficiency thanks to their innovative training and their rifled carbines invented by their commander. The Bussieri set an example of high mobility and marksmanship and would inspire volunteers and other Italian states' armies to adopt their fighting style and uniforms. The Sardinian cavalry was not the best cavalry in Europe, but the Sardinians did have the Carbonari, which acted as a military police force and a personal guard of the king during times of war. For example, during the skirmish of Passiango, the Carbonari charged to save the king's life from an enemy attack. When the Kingdom of Italy was proclaimed on March 17, 1861, when the Italian army was born on the 4th of May, with the integration of the Sardinian, Central Italian, the Neapolitan and Red Shirt armies, but the integration of the Neapolitans and the Red Shirts proved to be difficult, with the integration of the former being impossible. The Neapolitans were proud of their heritage and rejected the merger, and when the Neapolitan army was disbanded, with many of its officers and soldiers fighting a guerrilla war against the Italian army, with the latter, the integration of the Red Shirts was their progressive and republican views, as well as their favor of military intervention against papal territories. Due to this, conservative Sardinian generals feared that their integration would cause political unrest in the ranks, decided to disband them, and any volunteers wishing to join the new army had to enlist individually, and officers had to be confirmed in their roles by Sardinian examining commission. These measures caused widespread discontent among Garibaldi's volunteers and hampered the campaign against the insurgents. The Italian army inherited the old administrative and command structure of the Sardinian army, which was suspicious of the new elements integrated from other armies, with any act of insubordination and desertion was punished severely, which caused negative effects in the army. The extension of universal conscription to the whole country caused great discontent in the southern provinces, who saw the Italian army as a foreign occupying army. With all of these problems and deep divisions existing even within the Italian army, it's no surprise that the Italian forces were severely defeated in the Third Italian War Unification. These problems were only resolved after the Risorgimento, where General Caesar Monago launched major reforms based on Prussian lines in 1873 and helped to create the Alpini, the first established infantry corps specialized in mountain warfare. If you like this video, like and subscribe. See you next time.